Assalamualaikum. मेरा नाम अहमद फारूक है and I'm responsible for managing the information system that is supposed to collect the information that we require for National Socio-Economic Registry. So I'll keep my presentation brief, 15 minutes, but I'll take you from the start to where we are now and where we are heading. So this was 2008 when the program was started. So all the BISP information system had, or the IT team had, was Excel-based lists for payment generation. The targeting was done with the 8,000 forms distribution to the parliamentarians that was entered into the system, and payment lists were generated based on certain criteria by excluding people who were doing who were in the banks, who were doing government jobs, who were in the armed forces and stuff like that. And the finalized lists were shared by other organization, ADRA, to BISP for payment generation. That's what was the social safety net in 2008. In 2012, the paper-based collection was started. 27 million households data was collected. So this was the poverty scorecard form. It was double entered into the system. So the data quality met certain criteria, and that was digitized. The proximity test was applied, and a beneficiary list was generated. And that beneficiary list was sent to the banks through automated systems, and payments were made. Also in 2012, there was a case management system which was extended to the Tehsil offices throughout Pakistan. Since BISP has its offices in regions and divisions and Tehsils, the Tehsil offices are the actual points which reach out to the beneficiary, and beneficiary can launch complaints. And complaints are taken from there, and they come all the way up, and they get processed, and beneficiaries get their issues resolved, and payment lists are updated quarterly, and so on. In 2016 and 17 now, where we are, what we are doing is we have brought in the technology solutions. We have replaced the paper with the tablet. So the tablet is actually doing the data collection. It's not just one tablet, it's a complete offline workflow that is being implemented between enumerators and supervisors. So enumerators collects the data, that data is validated by the supervisors. And once the data is validated, the finalized form of data is submitted. I'll go into a little more detail subsequently. So, but the data collection, all the errors that relates to data collection in the field, writing, then data entry, all this has been removed by just introducing a tablet. That tablet actually takes the information from the field, and it comes directly to BISP servers. On top of that data, we have M&E systems. I'll show you some screens, how we are monitoring that system. We have a unified case management system. In 2012, since the poverty scorecard data was collected, number of programs were implemented on top of that. The Wasila Talim, the conditional cash transfer, the unconditional cash transfer, then there were other programs like Wasila Rozgar, which are now being run with limited capacity. So we had a segmented case management system for different programs. Currently we have 3 systems, one for targeting case management system, one for payment case management, and one for Wasila Talim system. So in 2016, what we are doing is we are updating the system into a unified system. It has the biometric capability. So a lot of the issues with complaints launching by the beneficiaries of BISP cash transfer programs, they are facing a lot of issues. Those are being solved with the introduction of this technology and unified system. The current programs which BISP MIS is doing is, which BISP MIS is supporting, is UCT payments. We are integrated with the banks. Then there is a Wasila Talim program, which involves data collection of attendance of school which have been admitted, which have been targeted by the same registry. Then we have a grievance redressal system, the 3 grievance redressal system that I just talked about, that we are unifying into one unified case management system. And then we also have data sharing systems. BISP is continuously sharing data with different organizations, provincial governments as well as the NGOs for different programs. So this is the current scope of MI. So these are the programs which were running before but now deprecated. This is being unified into a unified case management system. And this data sharing which has been happening, of course the data with itself has sensitivity involved in it. So we are trying to place in systems which are automating the data sharing. So nobody touches the data that is being shared between BISP and other organizations. So this is the last one. NSCR, as has been talked about continuously, is the update version of the data collection that was collected in 2012. So it has 2 approaches, desk-based and house-to-house. Desk-based is actually a subset of technical implementation of what we are doing in house-to-house, so I'll elaborate more on house-to-house. So the poverty, for NSCR house-to-house, we have a data collection form, as was in 2012, that has been automated into the system. So this system ensures the data. On the paper, of course, people can skip some information, but on tablet they can't. The system ensures them to enter the required information. The system also ensures them to meet the validation criteria. For example, whose son and whose father, and then so on. So the data quality itself. So data collection has been automated into the tablet. There was, of course, once you do the manual implementation, you have certain checks. With the form, there was additional layers of supervisor as well as editors when this was rolled out, poverty scorecard. With the tablet, we have introduced the same checks using the systems. So the supervisor in the field also has a tablet that it uses to validate the data that was entered by the enumerator. But this type of implementation is very difficult to implement in a national rollout because this type of interaction requires a continuous collaboration. And most of the systems that are implemented across the world over, they are connected online. Like the enumerator collects the information, they submit the information to the server, the supervisor collects the information from the server, and then validates whatever information. What we have done unique in this system is we have made a workflow that does not require the enumerator and the supervisor to connect to central server, and they can carry on their activity of field collection as well as validation there and then. What additional thing this tablet does is, whatever the sampling enumerator supervisor tablet does, it makes sure the supervisor visits the same enumerator locality, because once we collected the information, we also collected the GPS coordinates of the enumeration. And the supervisor is made sure that he has to go to the same household to actually validate the information. On the paper-based form, this was, of course, there were certain steps once you are handling a program of data collection this large, because paper can be filled just sitting somewhere, but this type of tool ensures that the visitation has been done. Once all this process is done in the field, then the data is being submitted. So it's not heavily dependent on online connectivity always. The data collection and validation process is concluded in the field and the data is submitted. In the test phase, we are expecting like 60,000 submissions in a day, which amounts to like 6 GB of data. Okay. Just highlighting the same points, no manual, we have added some data security and backup checks as well, because the information collected is of course very important, and we invested large amounts. So no manual deletion is possible on any tablet. It happens automatically. Enumerator tablet keeps data offline until submitted, and after submission it also keeps the backup for 48 hours. So in any case, any worst thing happens, the enumerator tablet still has the information that it can refer back to and send back to the supervisor. Supervisor keeps the data also in its app after submission and 48 hours after submission. So once 48 hours pass, the data is automatically deleted, because of course this is a country level collection and your tablet has a limited size, limited memory. So you have to clean it up as well as you go along data collecting. So as enumerators are submitting, with a day lag of 2 days, the data from the tablet gets deleted. All the data communication between enumerator and supervisor, as well as supervisor to the head office, is all encrypted. There is no possibility of any third party or any other individual or even the firm getting the information, because that information source is provided by us, that tool has been implemented by us, that intervention has been ensured by us. So even the firms who are collecting the information for us, they can't access the data. And at the head office, we also, once receive the information, we take a regular backup. Every 24 hours, the automatically system takes the backup. So we have a certain fail-safe, like even if the server is down, first the collection can continue in the field, and also we have a continuous backup of whatever is being submitted to us. And in the head office, we have protocols within us, within the team, who access what, and like for example, not one individual has access to all the information. Certain individuals, certain posts have to be present to access the information collectively. In terms of field validation, supervisor validates 4% of collected data without connected to the internet. That's what I've told already, so I'll just skim through. What I need to highlight here, supervisor tabs works as a calculator. It keeps a continuous check on the enumerators. It's whatever data the supervisor tab has, it has a log which of the enumerator actually skipped the questions, because there is a frequency table that is visible to the supervisor. Supervisor can ensure, can see people are not skimming, because with the tab there is a possibility you actually go to the household, you just continuously press the buttons and you collect all the no's and stuff. So there is a time check on each collection, and that is listed, popped up to the supervisor, and supervisor can refer back. So this mechanism of getting back to enumerators keeps the data quality high. So the 4% validation that enumerator was supposed to do, enumerator data also, I think this might be getting going for some of the people. I don't know how to make it more, but anyways. What I want to stress here is, like, the supervisor also validates the information of enumerators, and if for enumerators which are below certain criteria, for example, the validation that was done for enumerator X and enumerator Y, enumerator X had like 50% of match, enumerator Y had 70% of match, or some enumerator has like 20% of match, the system won't accept the collected data. And also the supervisor will have the option to reject the information. So now I'll come over to the head office level validations. I'll try to be quick, Jamisa. For the overall process, we have 3 stages. The first, we are doing the listing. Listing involves like going to the area before, traversing the whole locality and collecting the GPS coordinate and also the population. Then once that information is with us or with the firm generates a map on that, and based on the map allocates the enumerators, which enumerator should go to which area. And then enumerator goes there and collects information, and supervisor does a further validation. So it's a 3-level process. So this is the actual listing that we did in Sindh for one of the trainings in December with ASA. So these are the 2 localities we went to. So this is the listing app collection information. So once I zoom into this area, we have this. That area has been further zoomed in. This is an image of an application that has been extended to the organizations. The organization can actually go to the area and draw these squares or respective areas for each enumerator to survey. So this is for enumerator 1, this is for enumerator 2, this is for enumerator 3, 4 and 5. So this is the map that is printed by the supervisor or the firm and handed over to the enumerator. An enumerator takes, this is the same map but with a satellite image, so the houses are more clear. This one is clearer for the drawing, but this one is more clear for actual enumeration. So this is the same mapping. User can be flexible with their drawing. Of course, they can draw. So this is one way of drawing. This is the another way of drawing. In this, if you see, you can highlight the areas which were missed in the listing. So when the supervisor is directing the enumerator to collect information, they can actually direct, okay, enumerator 1, you go here, but you also go here, because the information was missing. And then also somebody, maybe E4, also goes here. So this is how the coverage is being ensured. So this is now the cross-match data with the actual collection. This was also showed by Dr. Saab in his presentation. This has the original points from the listing, and the data that was collected based on those maps, that's marked as red. So if you see, these were the listed areas as well as the collected areas. So listed plus interviewed are all red. But we also have highlighted some areas which were not listed but collected. So we have an indication here. And so these were areas which were listed but not collected. So system does is, it does a mapping of whatever the information was collected in listing and whatever information was collected during the actual survey. And those are superimposed and you get a information sense. So a corrective measure can be taken immediately. This is the workflow that we just talked about. And if a corrective measure needs to be taken, it goes back to the enumerator. And then the cycle goes up. So this was actual at the locality level. Now we come up to a district level. So this is the map of Chakwan. So what we did is we divided this into. So this grid is numbered. The previous page app that a supervisor was using for map generation, the same numbers for that particular locality for which they are using the map pops up. Like if they were actually at 31 or 32, the 32 number, if they were actually listing the locality number 32, whatever the name is, the same map will have a number alongside it, like whatever the grid reference is. So the small maps could be referenced on the larger screen. So this ensures a view to the firms as well as to the NSER team here. So they ensure the coverage end to end. This is an added map on the same district level. This gives you an overview of what is happening. Certain areas on which listing is done, those can be seen. Certain areas where survey is in progress, the enumeration percentage is a lot less than the listing percentage. So those are visible with orange. And in the places where the listing as well as the interview is complete, you can see with the green. So this is how the monitoring is made easy, and the NSER team makes sure the data quality is as what's required. So this is a country level map. The same will be extended, since all our operations, BISP is a country level organization and all our offices extend to Tehsil level. It's important to have this view. All those programs reporting on a larger screen with this country level map. So this is just a one. This system is not yet developed, but it's being developed. This is just for a perspective what we are trying for NSER. So the districts, this is like Charsadda, Mohammed NC, Chakwal, Cage, Thatta. These are the areas where the survey is starting. So this will be visible on the collective screen. The other system that we are stressing on, so that was NSER data collection. Now we have that information needs to be shared with the different organizations. So this is this database, NSER database, that is being on a defined criteria. The provincial governments gets the data, the NGOs gets the data, and they implement their own program like Khidmat Card or Child Protection Organization. So, and this automation is actually happening right now. We have actually started this implementation with Punjab Social Protection Authority, and we are sharing them data through services, system services, and of course the information that is shared with them. And BISP collected the information like years ago. Like right now it is collecting, but last information it collected was in 2012, and the next time it may collect maybe in 2020 something. But meanwhile, what's important to keep the system live is to have a report back or share back facility. So we are doing that, and we get the information back from provincial governments as well as whatever NGO we share, because they do an actual contact with the beneficiaries, and that information is getting back. So this is how this system will be made live. This as well as the case management system. So going forward, this will be extended to like our largest budget allocation is on payments delivery, and this same monitoring, same visualization should be extended to payments monitoring, Wasila Talim, unified case management system, and this is where we are going to, and that's it.